speaking of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Mr. Harvey has got some news about the reboot. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I do indeed. R.I.P.D.
Yeah, right.
Although to be fair, you and I have talked about this before. You remake the bad films. The thing that gets it wrong the first time, you give it another shot, but you try again with a different cast, a different,
Yeah.
The premise isn't terrible. The comic was a thing that existed.
Well, and answering Sci-Fi Snobs and the question in the chat, the cast, I've looked at the cast list. It's on IMDb. I don't recognize anybody that's in the cast.
Yeah,
so.
I looked at the cast list myself, and I guess some of these folks have more character actors than leads, and that's fine. Great, more character actors getting lead roles.
Yeah.
The bar is set low for this, though, so maybe it'll be an entertaining film.
Maybe.
There you go. Fingers crossed, right?
Yeah, every little bit helps, right?
Hey, all you can hope for is entertaining.
Yeah, like Mindy says, like the FP. That's completely unexpected little gem.
Exactly.
A diamond in a rough, as they say.
Yep.
I don't know if it warrants a watch party or not. I mean, maybe. I don't know. So, we'll have some scary stories from you, sir. I'm going to get out of your way. Good morning.
We do indeed. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, so there has been from time to time since 2018 talk of Buffy the Vampire Slayer getting a reboot, possibly a reboot, a continuation, something set in the same universe. It has never been entirely clear what kind of show they were looking at doing, but of course there's been quite a few shows that have had 1980s, 1990s versions that have had new versions made in the 2010s, 2020s. So this was not something that people were kind of expecting this. 2018, lots of talk about it, and quite a bit of talk since. However, the Hollywood Reporter's TV's Top 5 podcast this Friday, they spoke to executive producer Gail Burman, who said that the project is now on hold, on pause, which is even worse. Both of which are often terms that indicate that it's not gonna happen. So if you were looking forward to it, probably not going to get it. And certainly, depending on who's got the rights for it at this point, it's could be tied up with the Warner Brothers thing, because of course we originally ran on the WB. So we'll have to see what happens there. If we're looking forward to it, it's probably not going to happen. If it is going to happen, it's probably not going to happen the way that it was, whatever format they were looking at doing it right now. And of course, there was also the fact that Joss Whedon was involved with this, and he's got his own set of issues with interacting with people right now. So we'll see what happens. All right. George Romero's masterpiece, Dawn of the Dead, is coming in 3D October 28th through the 31st. Regal Cinemas. This is something you can actually check out this Halloween. Tickets are available now over at the Regal site if you're a fan of Romero, if you're a fan of Dawn of the Dead. If you have never seen a film in 3D in a theater, definitely worth checking out. I'm have to see if I can get around to this, because this looks like it would be a lot of fun. And this might come as a shock, but we have an R rating for the new Hellraiser movie. Who knew? This is actually something that a lot of news sites have been doing, kind of jokingly pointing out that, Hellraiser has gotten an R rating, because what else would you get? We would not want anything else but an R rating for the new Hellraiser film. This is coming out for Hulu. And the rating is for strong, bloody horror, violence, and gore, language throughout, some sexual content, and brief graphic nudity, which means it sounds like especially in early days, Hellraiser film. Of course, we have Clive Barker involved with this. He's involved with both of the new Hellraiser projects, this film, and of course the Hellraiser TV series that is on its way over at HBO. And David Gordon Green directed the pilot. Yeah, so we'll have, of course, a lot more news about that. And if you've seen The Black Phone, you might wonder why they're talking about a sequel, considering it is a contained story, but it's a popular film, and popular film means let's talk about a sequel, especially in the horror sphere. It's a very prominent thing to have horror sequels. And Scott Derrickson was asked about this and said, yeah, of course, they were talking about it. And it has been serious discussion. And he says there's already a lot of conversation, a lot of pressure being put on it. I mean, the movie cost $18 million. It's going to make about $160 to $170 million worldwide. So they want another one. Of course they do. Well, it's based on a short story by Joe Hill. And it turns out that Joe Hill has had a little chat with Scott Derrickson. So Joe Hill pitched me a wonderful idea for a sequel to Black Phone, that if this movie does well, I'm going to do it. He's got a great idea. I really liked it. Joe's very protective and personal about his material, but he came to me with this idea, and I was like, that's how you do a sequel to Black Phone. That's terrific. So, not a particularly bad idea to get the person involved with writing the acclaimed short story, the acclaimed film. Going to do a sequel. Why not? And Courtney Cox taking her way to social media, and the folks over at the official Scream account also pointing out that she has just wrapped all of her stuff for Scream 6. Now, it seems like only a few weeks ago you were talking about Scream 6 getting an announcement, so how much she's actually in the film, how quickly production is moving, could depend on how much screen time she's getting, but the film is still being shot. It's not all completed at this point, as far as we can tell. Of course, Cox returning and playing Gail Weathers, the official Scream account. Made a reference, of course, to Friends with I'll Be There For You, as they were praising her term on this film. Of course, we're looking at March of next year for the next Scream film. And there's more Saw on the way. Now, this is the poster for Saw 6, and that is the director of Saw 6 is returning to do the new film, Kevin Greutert. He did Saw 6, Saw the Final Chapter, served as the editor for the first 5 films. And, of course, we don't know much about the plot, but they say it's going to be more of what the fans want, which, if you're a fan of the Saw films, you know what that entails. Lots of blood, lots of traps. And the buzz continues to be really good about Prey, and one of the things that people seem to really enjoy, of course, is the canine sidekick of our heroine in here. Sorry, the dog is a shelter dog, was a shelter dog, and was brought on and trained for the film. And of course, this is an opportunity for the folks at that shelter to promote getting out there and adopting. And as somebody who has pretty much gotten many of my cats over the years from shelters and Humane Society and things like that, I heartily encourage you to, if you're going to get a pet, get out there and rescue one. And of course, the fun part of having a canine in a film is funny stories about the dog while shooting. And of course, it was a very high-spirited dog who didn't always do what they wanted them to do. So there's some fun stories you can find by checking out. I think some of the Prey social media has covered it. The Fulton Shelter in Atlanta, Georgia, is where Sorry came from. Coco is Sorry's real name, and definitely worth checking out, especially if you're an animal lover. It's fun stuff. And we've got some new images and this new poster from the movie Smile. Fantastic Fest announced they are going to be hosting the world premiere of this film, written and directed by Parker Finn. The trailer is out. You've seen it. It definitely involves some rather unnerving smiles. The premise here is Dr. Rose Cotter, who is played by Sosie Bacon, has a traumatic experience and starts discovering that people around her are smiling in very disturbing ways and leading to some very nightmare fuel inducing body horror. So we will have to see what this is up to, but certainly the images are very interesting, and smiles are creepy, which is what you want. Now, I can't actually show you the poster or the artwork that has been released for the new film's Candyland, because this is a PG rated program that we are on right now, and the poster and trailer are definitely not PG rated. They are adults only, but it is definitely getting a lot of buzz. One of the clips that was played at a couple of different conventions lately got quite very positive reactions. This stuff is out there online. You can find it if you want to look for it. It's up on YouTube and Red Band trailers and all that kind of stuff. But writer-director John Schwab, Roxwell Films is the production company behind this. It's about the plot here involves sex, religion, and violence. It follows a young member of a cult named Remy. It's a religious cult who ends up getting involved with a bunch of sex workers known as lot lizards at a truck stop. She seems to be wanting to be escaping her religious cult, but things may not be as it seems. Now, I've seen the trailer. Lots of blood. Definitely looks like it could be very, very interesting. And we'll have to see. But yeah, I can't show you any of the promotional material because I don't know, kids might be watching. And some of you, I've spoken to some of you. You're not old enough for this sort of thing. I'm not old enough for some of this stuff. Now, the horror film Swallowed has been picked up for international sales by Finch Films. Now, they do not have the North American rights. It's being handled something else. This is an LGBTQ themed horror film, body horror. If you're a fan of that particular genre, it looks like a lot is going on here. It follows two childhood friends who are on the verge of being separated as one is leaving, moving away. One friend would like to send the other one away with a little bit of money. So they have a little trip they need to take across the border, delivering a package. This never ends well because the package turns out to be something that they don't expect. It's played at the Overlook Film Festival, Fantasia. It's going to be over at Arrow Video Fright Fest. Definitely getting a lot of positive buzz. And we will have to see what kind of response it gets when it gets into the larger market. And Ariana DuBois, I'm afraid I don't know how to pronounce her last name. She got a lot of buzz as Anita in Steven Spielberg's West Side Story. Now, the film, of course, got really mixed reviews, but her performance got a lot of praise. Her next film is in the horror space. She's going to be starring in House of Spoils. It's a new psychological themed film. It's coming out from Amazon and Blumhouse Television. And it involves her character opening a restaurant. It's a farm-to-table sort of thing. It's at a remote location where, as such things go, there's lots of kitchen dynamics and internal politics and all kinds of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. And an investor who's not too sure about this, and of course, all the stress that goes with doing this sort of thing. But the previous owner of the estate, while they may not be alive anymore, has not seemed to have departed the property and has all kinds of issues with what's going on. It's been described as a tense, psychological, and sensuous thriller that will leave hearts pounding and mouths watering. We'll start shooting it this fall, and it's going to come out on Prime Video. If you're a foodie, I imagine that could be a lot of fun. Speaking of foodies, Ebon Moss-Bachrach is one of the stars of The Bear, where we also have a lot of food fun going on. He's joining Sarah Paulson for the new horror thriller Dust. Now, this is going to come out on Disney's DTC platform as a Hulu original in the US. Beyond that, we don't know much about release information. They're going to start shooting it later this month. And the premise of this, and I think we talked about this last week, follows a woman, Sarah Paulson, who is trapped by increasingly perilous dust storms and haunted by her past encounters. She begins to feel that something is targeting her family and makes some choices on how to defend them. And because it seems to be the theme this morning, we have another food-based film. The Menu, the trailer is out and looks like a lot of fun. Yeah, Ralph Fiennes plays a chef at a very exclusive dinner party. Anna Taylor-Joy, Nicholas Hoult, and John Leguizamo, Judith Light, actually a pretty impressive-looking cast, all go out to this very exclusive dining event, which turns out to have a different kind of menu, and the chef has certain plans for his patrons. If you're a fan of watching Ralph Fiennes be disturbing, well, it looks like a lot of fun. And on the video side of things, we've got a new edition of Red Dragon. A new HDR Dolby Vision Master is on the way. Then we've also got Universal Classic Monsters 4K Ultra HD, Frankenstein, Dracula, The Invisible Man, and the Wolfman, all coming. Bride of Frankenstein on the way. This set is the original set had Dracula, Frankenstein, The Invisible Man, and the Wolfman. This set has The Mummy, The Bride of Frankenstein, Phantom of the Opera, and Creature from the Black Lagoon. These are all making their debut on 4K Ultra HD. Definitely something to pick up, something I'm going to have to pick up. Also, we have King Kong coming out from the Archive collection from Warner Brothers, and that's coming out on Blu-ray. Then we've got Dracula versus Frankenstein coming from Severin Films. All these fun classic films making their way to various updated formats. It's 2-disc Blu-ray with slipcover. It's available for pre-order. It's not coming out until October. But it's packed with special features here. Tons of interviews and behind-the-scenes commentary and that sort of thing. It also comes with Brain of Blood, in case you needed an extra reason to pick this up. And we've got a full trailer and a lot more teaser images for the new Wednesday series coming from Tim Burton. And it seems very much like what you would expect from a series about the Addams family and, of course, Wednesday Addams. Jenna Ortega, of course, in the lead there, and this particular image shows the entire family. Well, not entirely. There's some discussion about what's going on with Uncle Fester, but here we have Gomez, Morticia, and her brother Pugsley. That's Isaac Ordonez as Pugsley, Louise Guzman as Gomez, and Catherine Zeta-Jones as Morticia. Now, there's been an interesting bit of reaction to Louise Guzman playing Gomez. Some people who are more familiar with the movie version of the Addams Family and the TV version have been like, that doesn't look like Gomez. But quite a few other people have pointed out he looks a lot like Gomez from the original illustrations. So I think it's working for me so far. The trailer looks like a lot of fun. And we do see Thing in the trailer. But again, Uncle Fester, there's discussions about that, and people have asked, and they say, watch the show. All right. And we got a trailer for the Cabinet of Curiosities, which is on its way. It's a 4-day double episode event. It's coming over here on the Halloween, October 25th, real close to Halloween. Of course, there, 2 of the tales are going to debut. Two episodes are going to debut each day. There we go. From the 25th through the 28th, and then they'll all be available on Netflix. Dreams of the Witch House, of course, based on an H.P. Lovecraft story. Graveyard Rats, coming. Lost 36, Pickman's Model, again, a little more Lovecraft. The Autopsy, The Murmuring, The Outside, and The Viewing, starring folks like Peter Weller, F. Murray Abraham, Tim Blake Nelson, Rupert Grint. Pretty much a star-studded cast, and the trailer does look like the kind of rich visual feast, get back to food apparently, that you would expect from Guillermo del Toro. So something definitely to look forward to this holiday season. And if you're a fan of Weird New Jersey, this has been around for a while. 1993, the magazine has been a beloved travel guide for the unknown places, the less traveled, the weird places in New Jersey. They generally don't show up on in the travel guides, but they're fun and interesting. And Mark Moran and Mark Skirmans has been I don't know, a New Jersey franchise for quite some time, and it is now going to make its way to television. It is Sony Pictures Television has acquired the rights, and they are developing it as a series that both incorporates the real Weird New Jersey that, of course, everyone loves about this, but also with a family that is forced by destiny to protect New Jersey from evil. So no news on when this is coming out, but definitely in development right now. So we'll have to see what happens there. And the folks over at the Horror Writers Association have got a poetry showcase on the way. It has got some nice thing here. Apparently, they're paying the poets more on this one. They've doubled what they're paying them, which is always great to have writers get paid more. And they get paid and contributor copies. Apparently, this was a either or in previous years. So definitely good on them for that. It's got a long list of folks who are involved with actually contributing the poetry. So if you're a fan of the darker side of the poetry world, definitely something to check out there. And they also had the announcement that the 2023 SugarCon has been confirmed. It's going to be taking place in Pittsburgh. You can actually get, if you're interested in going, you can book spaces now, and they got a discounted con rate of $164 a night. So if that's your thing, then you can check that out now. And if you're a dealer, those tickets are available now as well. And the novel Horoscope, which came out in 2014, it's about a psychic who finds themselves dealing with the mafia, and not by choice. It's become a graphic novel. ESW Management is folks dealing with the rights behind these. The graphic novel is out now. There's expectation that this is going to make its way to other medium on the way, perhaps as a TV series, perhaps as a film. It's been highly, highly praised. And this is not one that I've picked up. But we'll have to see. There's quite a bit of buzz on this one, and we'll what it turns into is apparently a lot of talk about this. So, and if you want a little more John Carpenter, Halloween Night Volume 8 is coming out September 28th. It's a graphic novel. It's getting a New York Comic Con exclusive cover. That is right there up on this one. It is John Carpenter and Sandy King bringing together a bunch of folks to contribute to this. John Carpenter, Sandy King, Jamie Carrillo, Alina Carrillo, Amanda Diebert, Kat Staggs, Alec Worley, Tom Foster. Just a long list of folks who are involved with this particular project. And you can check all that stuff out over at the Storm King Comics site. And if you're a fan of Evil Dead, the game, or Evil Dead in general, but Evil Dead, the game, we have a couple of neat little pieces of news here. Mia Allen's character, I'm sorry, Mia Allen from the Evil Dead remake is making her way over to the game as a playable character. And she's included in a season pass 1. And there's also new news that there is a new demon class coming. It's a free demon class called Plague Bringer, and it's based on the Army of Darkness Deadites. So if you're a fan of the game, some good new stuff coming. And if you happen to be a fan of The Sandman and you want some of that original art, some of it is now available for auction. Heritage's September Comics Art Auction has some original art here. And this was from the collection of the... I'm sorry, I've lost the... Cruz and Carol. These... Mimi Cruz and Alan Carroll. They were part of the Salt Lake City comic store Night Flight. Neil Gaiman and some of the folks involved with the original series used to do some of their earliest signings there. So they actually ended up with quite a bit of original art. Now this stuff is going up for auction. We've got Sandman #3, of course, where Morpheus encounters John Constantine. They've got some of the original cover art. And this is not the only stuff out there at the auction. Should you happen to be a fan and interested in such things, you've got Steve Ditko art from Amazing Spider-Man #18. You've got Detective Comics #25, which is, of course, pre-Batman, and Death in the Family art. You've got Dark Knight Returns art, all kinds of fun stuff available over there. And finally, for this morning, Chupacabras are on the way. All kinds of fun news coming out for Halloween Horror Nights. There's an all-new house. This is Fiesta de Chupacabra. Of course, this is going to be over at the Universal Parks big Halloween Nights presentations this year. Now, this, of course, is you'll be visiting a Latin village where the legend of the Chupacabra is celebrated with a colorful fiesta. And the blood of the tourists all over the streets, apparently. Halloween Horror Nights is involved in Day of the Dead stuff over quite a few years. So this is a logical extension. And there's actually quite a bit more we've got announced here. The Terror Tram is going to involve Jordan Peele's Us and the Tethered from that film making an appearance. Some of Nope is going to be making an appearance in this as well. And you've got a psycho. You take the Terror Tram and it takes you past these iconic horror locations on the Universal lot. So you've got the Psycho House, you've got the War of the Worlds set, and then of course it's going to choreographed massacre from the Nope set. So then ending with a Tethered apparently. So definitely going to be a fun period of time if you want to make your way out to this sort of setup. There's we got a full lineup here. We've got the Weekend After Hours Nightmare. We've got Halloween. We've got the Horrors of Blumhouse. We've got Universal Monsters Legends Collide, and then we've got a short film has popped up from the Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Now this, of course, is also part of the Halloween Horror Nights, and it's not particularly long, but if you've seen the original Killer Clowns from Outer Space, well, it fits right in. So it's definitely a lot of fun. We have a lot of horror haunted houses here in the Kansas City Old Industrial District, the West Bottoms. Nothing quite on this scale. Definitely something I'd like to check out one of these days. And that's what I've got for you guys this morning. I hope that you have a great weekend and enjoy all your fun horror throughout the week. This is always a fun experience for me on every Saturday morning, and we hope that it's fun for you guys as well. Thanks for watching.
Good Morning Multiverse, Saturday morning at 11, 10 Central.
Only on Sci-Fi for Me TV.